This is the B7 chord. It's a great bluesy chord, a great chord used in many rock and roll songs. And in this A Chord a Day challenge, we're going to be looking at just the open position. We're not looking at any bar chords or anything like that. And at the end, stick around because we're going to do a really great Rolling Stones song. So this chord uses 4 fingers, and using 4 fingers always makes me feel like a bit of a professional, you know. And if you know your D7 chord, that's going to help a little bit. Because if you see the diagram on the screen, you'll see that the first, second and third fingers are actually in the kind of the shape of the D7 chord. Obviously not playing at the same position, but we're playing them on the 2nd fret, 1st fret, and the 2nd fret here of the A string, the D string and the G string. What's left is this 4th finger here, and that goes on the 2nd fret of the high E string, the 1st string. So you've got 3 fingers all on the same frets, the 2nd fret, and the 2nd string, the B string, is open. So you're going to have to make sure that this finger here, your 3rd finger, is arched nicely so that it's not dampening or touching the string. And the same with this finger here. You want to make sure that this finger is arched as well so that it's not touching that 1st finger. Now with any chord, make sure all the strings are ringing out. And for this one, you're not going to play the 6th string. This is a 5-string chord. You're only playing top 5 strings. So for me, I use the thumb. I use my thumb here to dampen the 6th string, that low string. Now the song that we're going to be playing uses B7, it also uses E minor and an A major chord too. And so let's talk about how we can transition between those chords. So here's your B7. Now if you've been following this A Chord a Day challenge, then you'll know that I favour particular fingers for certain chords. And for the E minor chord, many people use the 1st and 2nd finger, but I prefer the 2nd and 3rd fingers, like that. Because going from the B7 to the E minor shape is easier, because all you're doing, well, what you're doing is removing the 1st, 3rd and 4th fingers. However, keep this finger on the fretboard, keep the 2nd finger on the fretboard, and then tuck in the 3rd finger behind it on the D string at the 2nd fret. So when you're going between B7 and E minor, that finger, 2nd finger, is anchored nicely onto the fretboard. As for A major, well, I use A major with my 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers. Many people play it like this, but my preference is like this. And if that's the B7, now if I want to go to A major, this becomes my anchor, the 3rd finger, because it's in the right position to play the chord, the A major chord. So if there's my B7, I lift up those 2 fingers, and then this one and this one will tuck in on the 2nd frets as well of the D and the B string. And then if I'm going back to B7, I'm just going to lift off those 2 fingers and put them in the appropriate place, and obviously sticking the 1st finger back down. So let's put this into practice, and we've got a great Rolling Stones song. I think it's from 1966. It's called Painted Black, and it uses B7, E minor, A, G and D. A couple of chords there, and certainly a few chords that we've seen in this A Chord a Day challenge already. And part 1 looks like this. We start off with the E minor chord, and we've got 2 bars of E minor, 2 bars of B7. So we're going to be doing that change from E minor to the B7. Remember that 2nd finger, this finger here, is your anchor. And you know, so the strumming wise, just keep it simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see a red door and I want it painted black. No colours anymore, I want them to turn black. So that's part one. Now part two is a little trickier because there's a lot more going on. So you can see the chord progression on the screen, and you'll see that the first two bars, there's E minor, D, G and D, and these are all played in half bar. So you've got 2 strums of E minor, 2 strums of D, 2 strums of G and 2 strums of D again before 2 bars of E minor. Then that repeats again, the first 2 bars of E minor, D, G, D, and then we have a bar of A and then a bar of B7. So remember the transition from A minor to B7, sorry, from A major to B7, keep this finger in place, take the other 2 off, and then form the chord around that 3rd finger, okay? And then you will have that beautiful chord. So let's have a playthrough of this song. But if you need any help with the other chords, the G, the D, etc., then click the link here and it'll take you to a playlist of all the videos we've done for this A Chord a Day series. So here's the whole song. We're going to keep it at a slower tempo, and as I said, keep the strumming simple. Just keep it down, strums, keep it nicely like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see a red dot and I want it painted black. No colours anymore, I want them to turn black. I see the girls walk by dressed in their summer clothes. I have to turn my head until my darkness grows. And that repeats a few times. I think that's basically the whole song actually. Now you may have noticed the slightly different guitar. This is my Martin Backpacker travel guitar, and I take it whenever I'm travelling. It's pretty good, and I think it's got a really great sound. And why don't you check out the link and get one for yourself? You know, you never want to be without a guitar. For more 7th chords in this A Chord a Day challenge, then click the link right here and it'll take you to a playlist of loads more 7th chords. Thanks for joining me today. Happy strumming.